Hi everyone, I am full of cold, so apologies if I sound awful. I actually can't hear most of what I say because my ears are so banged up. But hey, first day of the Christmas break and I'm poorly. Yay. Today I'm doing a review video for A Forest of a Thousand Lanterns. This is by Julie Cedeo, and this is the Rise of the Evil Queen in a completely different setting from what we're normally used to. This follows Shifeng, and I'm hoping I've pronounced that right because I've really struggled with it, as she tries to establish her destiny, her fate in the world that she finds herself in. And she's been told by her aunt that her role is Empress. That's what she is to aspire to be. And so we follow her in her journey to achieve that. Things aren't quite as clear-cut as we would have been believed. There appears to be this darkness within Shifeng that she can't control, but she knows she can use it to her advantage. And that certainly comes to the front as she arrives at the palace and meets the Empress and becomes involved in the world and the city of women and the concubines. And I have to say, it's quite an interesting story. It's certainly a very interesting premise of the background of the Evil Queen from Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. It's certainly something we don't normally see. I mean, yes, we've had Fairest, which is from the Lunar Chronicles, and there's a Disney Twisted Tale one, which I can't actually remember what it's called at the moment, and it's still not back on my shelf yet. So there are stories about how the Evil Queen came to be and why she envied Snow White, but there's not been, I would say, a story that follows that progression in quite such detail. And Forest of a Thousand Lanterns does that really well. I would certainly say I don't know if I want Shifeng to win or not. There's enough in her to make her a reasonably likeable character, but there's also enough within her where you actually want her to get her comeuppance, that she is selfish almost in wanting her goals, and the way she treats Wei is very reminiscent of someone putting aside what's right for them for something they think they need. So I have to say, I'm not sure if I want her to be redeemed. I think I quite happily want her to receive the ending that Queen Grenhelda receives in Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. This is obviously part of certainly a duology, maybe more than that. I don't know yet. It depends how far we're going to have the story told. But certainly by the end of Forest, I feel like things have been set up quite nicely for the almost traditional Snow White retelling. It's very clear who Snow White is. It's also very clear who Prince Charming is in this. So I don't know if I'll be surprised by what's in the sequel to this. But I would like to think that having a different setting and more of an Eastern influence in mythology and that, I'm kind of hoping that might twist the story a little bit. But as to whether Shifeng actually gets her comeuppance or not, I'm really hoping she's skewered nicely to death, that she is made to pay, because I don't like her, which is terrible. You know, she's our lead character, but there's not enough of her that I actually want her to be redeemed or want her to succeed. I want her to receive the villain's ending, which is a shame. But the trouble with writing about a villainous character is they do have this role to play, that they are the villain, and there's only so much you can do to make someone like the villain before they suddenly start becoming the hero. I'll have to wait and see then as to where the sequel takes the story. I would say Forest of a Thousand Lanterns was very well written. I do have a problem with names that I can't pronounce, or I have no idea how to pronounce them. There is a beautiful glossary pronunciation guide at the front of this book, so every time I forgot how to say a name, I could go to the front and check it and say it. But I found that it did start taking me out of the story a bit, so I sort of just hung in there with grim determination and hoped I was pronouncing things right until I put the book down and came back to it later and checked again before carrying on. But I have that problem with a lot of fantasy stories where I just haven't got a clue how to pronounce character names or place names. It really does jolt me out if they give me a pronunciation guide, and it's like, to be honest, I'm just going to wing it and go with what I can see on the page. And I mean, I get it wrong half the time anyway, so we'll go with that. But I did enjoy Forest for Thousand Lanterns. It's a nice builder. It certainly gives you a new aspect on the Snow White story, not least because it's from the villain's point of view, but also because of a complete change of setting and culture. And I thought actually the world was really well described. It was certainly a believable place, and to me it felt quite alien, to be honest, because it's not something I read about a lot, that whole world, as it were. So I thought it was very good at bringing in someone who had very little knowledge of how this society ran and expectations of that time. So I did enjoy Forest of a Thousand Lanterns. I will probably check out the sequel, and fingers crossed, I hope it does take me in a surprising journey and not just be a rehash of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. And I would certainly recommend this for people who like anti-heroes and sort of the villain's point of view, more dark fairy tale stories, and people who want a fairy tale told from a different culture, not the very Western stylized stories that we keep being given. So if you enjoy that kind of thing, give this one a go. I think it's worthwhile doing. Please leave any comments down below if you've read it, what you thought, what your favourite bits were. I don't want to talk too much about it because I don't want to give away spoilers, but I did certainly enjoy several supporting characters. I thought they were very well created. Please contact me via Twitter and Goodreads and Instagram on your thoughts on the story. That would be lovely. Links are in the description box down below. As always, thank you very much for watching and happy reading. Bye!